Property is anything owned: land, homes, money, stocks, vehicle, boats, furniture, retirement accounts, pensions. The term real property is sometimes used for land and buildings, with all other property being called personal property. Debt is money owed to persons or businesses. Some common types of debt include mortgages, credit card debt, medical bills, car loans, student loans, and personal loans. In a divorce or dissolution, you must identify the marital property and debt, value the marital property and debt, divide the marital property and debt.
During your marriage, you may have bought an automobile or a house, or may have other assets or debts of the marriage. If you've acquired this property during the marriage, it is identified as marital property. Marital property is divided by the court.
You must distinguish between marital property and debt and separate property and debt. Marital property and debt will be divided between you and your spouse. Separate property will not be divided. You should make a list of all of the marital property and debt. You can use the Property and Debt Worksheet, SHC 1000, to list out the marital property and debts. You should also make a list of all separate property and debt. The general rule is that marital property is any property purchased or received during the marriage, or any benefits earned during the marriage for the benefit of the marriage. Marital debt is any debt incurred during the marriage for items or services purchased or used during the marriage. During the marriage generally means from the date of the marriage until the date of separation. Sometimes separate property can become marital property. People often disagree over what property is marital and what is separate. If you have a question, you should ask the judge. In deciding a value for marital property and debt, you must remember, you must value property at its fair market value, generally meaning what you can sell it for at a garage sale or on Craigslist. And generally, the value of property and debt should be set as close to trial time as possible. However, specific property may be valued at different times. You can probably value everything pretty accurately during the time before trial, but some things might change just before trial. For example, the value of a retirement account invested in stocks or the value of the marital home, so you should check values to make certain they are up to date.
During a divorce, the court must determine how marital property should be divided. The way that happens is, first, the court identifies what the marital property is. Second, the court must value the marital property. In other words, decide how much it's worth, if there's any debt associated with it. And then the third part of the division of the property is when the judge decides how to actually divide the property. The presumption is the property would be equally divided, but in certain cases a judge might award one party more property than the other.
Marital property and debt must be divided in a fair and equitable way. For a marriage of some length, this may mean 50-50. However, the court will consider many factors in deciding the division and in deciding whether to use a different percentage. The factors that the court must consider include: 1. Length of the marriage and station in life of the spouses during the marriage. 2. Age and health of the spouses. 3. How much each person can earn, including their education, training, employment skills, work experiences, length of time away from the job market, and who took care of the children during the marriage. 4. State of their finances, including the status of health insurance. 5. Spouse's conduct, including whether one or the other has unreasonably spent marital assets. 6. Desirability of awarding the family home or the right to live in it for a reasonable period of time to the parent who the children usually live with. 7. Circumstances and needs of each spouse. 8. Time and manner in which a property was acquired. And 9. Whether property can produce income and the property's value at the time of the division. Deciding how to split property and debt in a divorce or dissolution can cause arguments. You are urged to talk to an attorney to discuss whether your plan for dividing property and debt will be accepted by the judge. Civil Rule 26.1 and other discovery tools give you the power to get the information you need about what property and debt exists in your marriage. Another video clip will give more information about discovery. You can find more information on how to handle marital property and debt on the Family Law Self-Help Center website.